Welcome all of you once again here on Freewheeling. Thank you for joining me. It is once more time to delve into another aspect of the auto industry with a special brand that we haven't actually had on the show for a while. So I'm excited today because it's a brand where action is really picking up in terms of a whole lot that's going to be rolling out very soon. The brand is MG, and we are talking with Rajeev Chaba, who's joining me right now. Good afternoon, Rajeev. It's great to see you after a very long time.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it has been a while.
It's been a while, and it's also been a very crazy while because, of course, so many things have gone almost on their head the last several months. It's good to see, though, now that a lot of it is coming back quite positively and strongly. Sometimes we wonder how come it is happening at the pace it is. So that's a good thing. But in a nutshell, though, last few months and then where we are today, how are things for you at MG?
It has been good. March, April and May were very scary. We were at the peak of wave 2. And then June onwards started picking up again. July was outstanding. August looks great. So things are improving, though we have the concern for COVID wave 3. And I think we all need to have the concern because I think we can't take it easy and we can't take it loosely. So hopefully, we all keep taking precautions and hopefully, it's like preparing for the exams and examination paper is easy, so let's hope for that. Only thing is some challenges are still around the chip shortages and that has become even more crazy right now. We were expecting things will become easy on chip shortages, but actually it has become more scarce. So August from that perspective is bad. September is looking worse. And we are going towards the festival season, but more shortages at least we are expecting, and the freight rate has not gone down, they have gone up. So still some challenges, I would say. But on the COVID front, so far so good.
Well, that part is good to hear. And in fact, when you were saying concerns, I was straight away thinking chip shortages as well, because the whole semiconductor issue has been plaguing the sector, not just this industry, but of course, the way it's affecting auto perhaps is a little bit more extreme. At a time when the vehicles, the consumer demand for those vehicles are becoming so much more dependent on this technology. So, and for your brand in particular, technology is really a huge plank. It has been right from the time you introduced in India. Each of the products that we've seen so far and all the anticipation about your upcoming car as well, it really drives on that plank. So does it become a sort of a slightly larger issue for you as compared to some of your rivals?
I hate to say yes, that's a fact. Because we have more chips. We have more chips than any competition car chips in terms of numbers, right? In our car, because it's smarter, and because of that we have huge challenges on chips. So that's why we are not like Hector, as an example right now, on a free flow basis, we get more than 4,000 orders a month, but we are able to service only 3,000 a month, so because of that. Likewise, ZS EV, the EV is doing very well right now, but we can't supply more than 300, 350 a month.
Now, this thing about supply issues, as you mentioned, it's not a new problem, but it's one that you had hoped you'd be sort of putting behind you by now. How do you sort of then hedge for that? I mean, I know I'm taking you into slightly different territory, and I thought we'd be talking about this a little later. But yes, I mean, this is something. It's not a new problem. You've had different kinds of supply constraints, even in your previous responsibilities. So how do you then say that, all right, we got to keep the customer interested, even if it means long waiting periods?
I think in the long term this will not be a problem. We all know it. It's
Sure.
Really short term to mid term, and my latest assessment would be that I think this will be there till Chinese New Year. And why Chinese New Year? Because globally there will be a huge demand for all kinds of goods, not only automotive, but all those goods which uses chips, till Chinese New Year, because of the Diwali demand in India. But more than Diwali demand, the whole globally, it will be a Christmas demand for many goods. So I think after Christmas is Chinese New Year. So I think we are going to struggle at least till Chinese New Year, which is February. I think, and after February globally, there should be, I think, some respite on the chips, and hopefully the COVID situation also will improve from certain Southeast Asian countries which are also providing chips. So COVID situation, the Diwali, post-Diwali Christmas demand situation, I think should improve, and also the freight rate should come down from February next onwards. So I think we need to survive till first quarter next year, in my opinion.
So interesting then that the Chinese New Year becomes like that auspicious time to look forward to, when hopefully some of these things are behind you, and rapidly so. But all right, let's talk about the present. You mentioned the demand for the cars that you have in the portfolio right now is robust. You would sell a lot more if you could. Of course, that's something you've already said. But very quickly, would you say that interest, awareness, and the right kind of demand for the ZS EV today that we see is very different from when you introduced the car first?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And there were a lot of naysayers and a lot of skepticism about EV, and lots of guys, and you know it, Siddharth, there are lots of people ask us the question, why are you launching EV as your second car? You're a new player and nobody will buy EV because charging infrastructure like that. And you see within 1.5 years what has happened. Just 1.5 years. I think there's a more and more inquiry. You have seen all kinds of surveys, global survey, local survey, and where 30-40% of the consumers are saying they're willing to look at EV, and charging infrastructure, as long as you are giving consumers a convenience of charger at their home, 90-95% of the charging need is taken care of. Yes, obviously it will add to if the infrastructure in their surroundings, community, other areas also improve. But I think they're happy with that starting point. And the government also is pushing a lot on this EV front. So as an example, I'll just take one data point of last month. We got 600 bookings. Tata Nexon is doing very well. I heard they have got 900 or 1,000 bookings. So between two of us, we are doing in a month now what was done in a year, 2 years back, right? So it means I come back to one favorite point. I said it's a question of OEMs need to provide more compelling solutions to consumers. If we provide solutions to consumers are ready to adapt. And obviously infrastructure has to keep pace with it. So it has to happen together.
That's true. And I think there's no sort of denying that argument for sure, Rajeev. I think a lot of people have finally accepted it the hard way as well. Der aaye durust hai, as they say in Hindi. But, the proof of it really is, and like you said, the experience of it, a lot of consumers are very happy. But that said, of course, you continue to operate in what are, of course, the highest growing segments, with SUV being your absolute focus at MG. The Gloucester also drove in. You just had a new variant also launching just this week, in fact, the new Savvy variant. So on that car as well, what would you say is the sort of response that you anticipated and that you actually got?
I think Gloucester, we can sell more. Our actual demand probably is again more in Gloucester than what we can supply.
Is that your new MG tagline, Rajeev? We can sell more. We would love to sell more.
See, maybe we were conservative in demand estimation. Maybe some other issues. I don't know exactly. I can't really put the narrative on the TV right now. But the issue is that all our forecasts have been beaten by all the three cars, like Hector, EV, and Gloucester. And that's a good situation for us to be in. We definitely can sell more. Gloucester, we have a unique challenge that, because it's not that much localized here in India right now, which we are trying to do. So because of that, the freight cost is much more. And because the freights have gone up 10 times in the last 1 year, 1.5 years, and there is no scene of freight coming down. So we lose a lot of money in Gloucester, even at this pricing. So that's why we are controlling or we are limiting Gloucester. So internally, we are just doing 350 to 400 Gloucesters a month. And that's relatively easy, numbers. But hopefully, with more localization on Gloucester next year, as well as freight rates easing next year, we should be in a better situation in terms of our contribution margin on that car. And we can be more aggressive in volumes next year.
But what is your sort of optimal localization level that you're looking for then?
It depends from trim level to trim level. Gloucester, as you know, we have 4x2 and 4x4. So it varies. But from the current levels, we definitely want to increase it by another 10 to 15%.
All right. The anticipation around the new car that sort of started to now get everybody's attention. We are certainly getting a lot of queries about it. The segment that you're looking at, it is a very highly competitive space. It's also the fastest growing segment in India's car market, has been for quite some time now, and with good reason, right? I mean, this is where you really get the buyer's attention for all the right reasons, and it's very well laid out what the buyer is looking for. Your entire pitch with your cars so far has been all about, cutting edge, modern, very connected, and very sort of gadgety and techy. It's safe to assume that the new car would do the same thing.
It will be safe to assume.
And the reason I ask that is because, there are so many other things that go with that now, right? It's becoming, the conversation is shifting away from just infotainment to connected infotainment. It's shifting away from, having just, Google Maps to having a variety or a suite of apps. That's an area that interests you as well as a company, isn't it?
Yeah. So Siddharth, this is what we have been trying to do since the launch of our brand in this country, isn't it? That technology and innovation is one of the most important pillar of our brand DNA, apart from unique customer experience, community, and diversity. So these are the 4 pillars. And I think we have walked the talk in all these 4 pillars. Coming to technology and innovation, this part, Hector was the first connected car. ZS EV was the EV, arguably is the best EV in the country right now in that kind of a price band, with connected, so it's connected and EV. And Gloucester was autonomous level 1. Again, the ADAS features in that price segment, we are the first one to give, and the only one so far, right? So we have really raised the bar in every car, and every car has been positioned very distinctly, and uniquely. It's not me too, or it's not a vanilla product in that segment. So likewise, it's safe to assume, to use your words, Siddharth, that our next car also will be uniquely, clearly differentiated. And we feel that the time has come now, and I'm sure we have been intellectually talking so far that the future is that software will differentiate the cars. Horsepower and torque and fuel efficiencies will be kind of given. You can't differentiate based on that. It will be in the ballpark, similar for many cars. So, you can't differentiate based on that in future. And software is a differentiator. So I can tell you, this is exactly we want to position our next car as, that the car is going to be a platform. And a lot of services and a lot of convenient features, services can be given on that car. So it's slightly early for me to talk more about that. Still, we have a few weeks to go for the launch, but definitely we want to establish next car as a platform. On that platform, a lot of services can be given and would be given as the whole market evolves. So it will be a different ball game, in my opinion. We will definitely disrupt the whole thought process of cars and car buying in that sense with the new car.
You're really opening up like a whole area of conversation now that I want to get into. Can I say the name Aster, or am I not allowed to say that?
You say whatever you have to say, but you're not confirming anything right now, Siddharth.
That's fine. Yeah, it was worth a shot. All right, but but the larger point is what you just said, right? That you're opening up this whole new arena, as it were. How inclusive do you want that to be? How many other technology players can come in and participate with you with a view to reach the same consumer? And more importantly, how interested is the consumer? I mean, it's one thing for you to say that, hey, we're going to give you all of this. How much do people want this, or do they just not know it yet?
So Siddharth, I will take you back again to Hector. Hector was the first internet car, the first connected car, and then others followed. Now you see in the last 2 years, like it is becoming price of entry in many segments, isn't it? Like everybody wants to do it. Why? It's not to copy MG, but it is to listen to the customers on the street that they want it, right? So we created that awareness and probably did which consumers were expecting. And again, just to I think use an example on that, to me it was a simple execution idea that, listen, can we have an industrial sim in the car, because people want to stream certain things, or people want to see something live in the car. Always question to OEM, in my opinion, was that how you're going to fund that, or what kind of data you need to give in the car, how much you want to charge from the consumer. So it was a cost and benefit issue, which I think in MG was a minor thing for us to consider because we were just launching. So the moment that clarity comes in the OEM's mind, you start giving it, and this is what is happening. Now, coming to consumer side. Now, Siddharth, you're not that old still. And I'll say even your consumption habit will be different, and my consumption habit about the screens. So now we have 3 screens already, where we are obsessed with. TV, one is laptop or smart tablet, third is the phone. So the car screen is the fourth. Okay. Now, can we integrate these screen in such a way that it becomes very user friendly to consumers? You don't have to, have asynchronous operation between the screens, and can we combine that, and you can get a lot of features and offers on your car screen too. Now, who doesn't want that? Tell me. The convergence has to happen. And that's where the conversation happens, that what's the software in your car? How do you integrate these screens, and how easily you give these benefits? So in my opinion, consumers want it. The same discussion we did in the second car, EV, right? Are the consumers ready? They are ready. You give them a good offer, right? So likewise, I feel consumers are ready right now. And yes, some consumers will always wait for the perfect solution. Nothing wrong with that. But they will come after maybe second year or third year of introduction. But early adapters are dying to get those kind of features, in my opinion. So they will go. And again, one thing I want to make it very clear: we are not again in a volume game. In Hector, we were not in a volume game. We have 3,000 to 4,000 kind of demand. There is not even a single rupee discount on Hector, even after 2 years. Who would have imagined that, by the way? ZSEV, not even a single rupee of discount, and we sell 300-400 a month. Likewise, Gloucester. So our next car is also not going to be a volume player where we want to sell 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 cars. We want to just manage a good volume, but give premium services to consumer.
But that said, Rajeev, wouldn't it naturally attract a larger buyer base given the sort of place that you're launching it in, the segment that you're launching it in?
See, to be very honest and candid, there would be some limitations too, because we are not offering diesel engine in that car. So, there is some diesel segment,
which we've spoken about. But why I'm asking this, that, customer has a certain expectation. So even though you may not have like a necessarily a volume strategy, by default, as compared to the other products, it does need to be higher volume, right?
Yeah, it should be.
Because
the segment is much bigger than the Hector segment, as an example, or Gloucester segment. So for sure, and so we need to manage our capacity too. So that's a different question altogether. So within the capacity, we need to optimize the volumes, of these car lines.
No, and of course, we've seen a natural sort of transition towards petrol. So I'm sure that's not an overriding concern for you. You mentioned that this platform that you're looking to create now with this product. Firstly, does that platform naturally transition to the existing portfolio as well at some point? And secondly, if it's going to be a participative sort of a platform, developers, etc., what's your view towards attracting that kind of positive energy or that kind of cutting edge technology? Is it from just the consumer's point of view to say, hey, look, there'll be more services on offer to you, or does it just create a sort of almost like a marketplace on wheels, which nobody has done so far?
So very interesting, Siddharth. So actually, as you know, even in Hector, we created an ecosystem, and we had plethora of partners, like-minded partners who joined hands with us, and they continue.
I remember.
I think the whole journey is evolving for them, and all of us are learning in this, right? So likewise for next car, which we are launching very soon, we will have series of partners. It's a very collaborative approach, and our Geo was our first partner, which we announced. You'll be hearing about more partners very soon. So we have like-minded, progressive partners who want to have a very meaningful and impactful share in this game as we go forward. So, we have got very, very good partners who will be offering lots of services, and then we are going to develop this whole thing together. But yes, it's safe to say that a lot of developers will get interested in future as this whole thing evolves. We may start with certain services, and definitely we will start with certain services, but there is no end to addition of different services to this platform as we go forward. So again, theoretically, we all have talked about personalization of certain things. Simple things like you can personalize your screen of the car. Simple thing, right? You can put your family picture on the screen to start with. But then it comes about your favorite route to your destination. As an example, you can order a lot of things from your car. You can book the tickets of some play and movies from the car. You can start making payments from the car. Maybe you're insure if you are willing to share your data with the insurance company, then maybe your insurance premium may come down depending on your style of driving. So those all kinds of things are possible, and our new car will enable it.
I was actually going to ask you, will there be a payment gateway partnership as well, or will it be agnostic to that and open to different? Because I assumed as much that payment would sort of play a role here going forward anyway.
So the car will be able to do it, but it may not be able to do it from the start of sale itself in few years. Sure. In few months. But definitely at the earliest it would be possible. But in the next car, we'll make sure that from your phone you can make, so you can order on the car, but you can make the payment from the app. So something like, it's not fully seamless to start with, but this is what would happen in the next few quarters, in my opinion. And also, one important thing, Siddharth, when we are talking about is, and I want to say it, safety is the biggest issue, right, in mind. So because with so much of electronics and all, and so much of software, it should not malfunction, and also safety from the perspective of consumer, that the privacy of data and things like that. So I think we are extremely careful. So I don't want to talk about all the partners right now, but I just want to say that the best global players are going to be our partners to ensure the safety and privacy of the data, and we give our car for a cyber audit. But even Hector, we have done that, by the way, cyber audit, and likewise this car will be fully proved, validated from those kind of issues. So so it's a different game, and different kind of players are getting into the car market now. So so all those big techie players also are going to join our hands in this journey.
That's a new phrase for me to learn now, I guess. Cyber audit, I like that. I better remember that one, Rajeev. I just realized that I've talked to you about all of this now for a few minutes, but I'm guessing that this whole thing comes under the umbrella of some sort of a name, like a brand. Would it be just iSmart, or would there be a completely new sort of identity that you're going to give this whole digital ecosystem?
I think we'll continue with iSmart, because as we said when we launched Hector and ZSEV and Gloucester, that the iSmart itself will evolve, right? So that's our architecture, and so it will evolve, and you will have various versions as you get it in iSmart phone, like iOS 12, 13. So I think we will not change the nomenclature.
No, and iSmart has been well received. I mean, iSmart 2.0, which you did last year, was also award-winning at our awards. So we totally appreciate where you're going with that. No, the reason I asked that is because when you look at, there's the technology aspect of it with the iSmart umbrella, I suppose. The touch and feel part of that, which is the consumer interacts with. And then there is also, the services or the suite of services that you would be offering. Does that also just go under that, or would you have a different brand name or a different sort of service name for that?
As of now, same, but there is a possibility that we can get into a new brand in future.
Yeah, because I just see this becoming more and more layered in the future, which is why I asked that question. Because the way I understand it, some of what you've spoken about today, I'm hearing it for the first time. And so it is going to be new. It is going to be new for not just the consumer, but the industry as well. So it's exciting stuff. Tell me this.
So for sure, this is the first time in the industry what we are going to offer.
Oh yeah, I mean, nobody's talking about it either. Forget about offering it. So, but like you said, it's also where it's also what you sort of built your business case on, right? In the sense that there's an expectation almost now that when it comes to MG, you will hear such things which are, not happening with some of the others. But tell me, when it comes to, getting people's attention today, the product has a certain role to play, these services and technology has a huge role to play. But then there's also the whole aspect of, a lot of people looking at different models of ownership, maybe not ownership at all. That's again an area that you have focused on. What do you see happening in that space, especially in the coming year?
Yeah. So Siddharth, I think, like I said, and a lot of consumers also who are watching this episode will also question, hey, what about the basics, right? Basics means car has to look good. Car has to be competitive in terms of, basic issues like horsepower, fuel efficiency, leg room, shoulder room, and things like that. So that's one part. The second part is the dealer network. It should be easily, accessible all over the country. The third is cost of ownership and the resale price. So I would say, listen, these are the fundamentals now we have understood, and little bit we have done pretty well on Hector already, and that's the proof. As an example, cost of ownership of Hector is the cheapest in the segment, and 70% of Hector consumers spend only less than 3,000 rupees in one service, which actually you can compare that with Maruti or Hyundai or some very competitive servicing. Likewise, resale of Hector is the best in the segment even after 2 years. And people are able to get 92 to 94% of their original price after 2 years if they want to sell it, right? So we have not removed our attention from the basics. Likewise, network. By the end of this year, we should be having more than 300 touch points. So we are expanding in a big way in all the tier 3 and tier 4 cities, and that's why when we have Geo's reach in those kind of cities is definitely much better, and they're quite advanced in 4G, So I think those fundamentals definitely are intact, and our teams are working on that. And the proposition, what we are making is those are like given now, those are given, it's a hygiene. But then how uniquely you differentiate, and this is what we are saying, that software or car as a platform differentiation we want to do in the next car.
All right. So tell me, this platform, obviously I'm also assuming that it takes AI into account. I'm guessing there's a lot of AI that goes into all of this in any case. Are you looking at a scenario where you could be open to sharing this with others? I mean, if you have the lead and, you almost sort of create a benchmark, as it were, is there a scenario where that could happen? Or am I really extrapolating this too far?
You are giving some thoughts. So, but yes, AI is the
because not everybody is working on this, right?
Yeah, AI
not everybody is working on it.
Right. So Siddharth, it's slightly too early and maybe it's premature for me to make any comment on that, because we have not thought it through, frankly, at this point of time. And really, it's not going to be easy too. It's going to be slightly complicated. But it's a good point to ponder.
I just have a sort of a last question about the upcoming festive season. Yeah. Your expectations, from the festive season. I know it's a very cliched business journalist question to ask, but this year in particular, it takes on a sort of a different meaning, given how the year has sort of played out till now. There is a lot that's expected from this season. Taking into account all your challenges and also the projections that you have, how do you feel about the next 3 months?
So, next 3 months, I think I would say some challenges and opportunities. I think challenges would be on the front of chip shortages, and the raw material increases is unbelievable. As we speak, even the steel manufacturers are talking about another price increase. Though most of us have done the car price increase again in August, but unfortunately, I hate to say it, and people will hate to hear it. We may think of another price increase in October. The way the input cost is going up, so that's a challenge. Supplies will be a challenge. But on the demand side, because of some pent up and because of festival season, I think I expect a huge increase in the demand side. And there will be shortage of cars. We are going to suffer in a bigger way because of we have more chips usage in our car, but even other manufacturers will have some challenges in supplying. So I think there will be shortage of cars in the industry in this festive season. This is what, frankly, I envisage.
All right. Well, we just hope that there's enough and more for you to still be able to celebrate, because I know these challenges aren't the best kind. But having said that, at least like you said, the demand part is robust, and the consumer is still flocking to your dealerships, and that part we'll all wish for you. So
Thank you very
thank
much.
you. I am excited about the upcoming product. Can't wait to see it, drive it, and then talk about it, because especially from what you've told me, it's going to go beyond just the driving experience. So look forward to it.
Thank you very much, Siddharth. Thanks for having me in your show.
No, I appreciate your time, and really do hope to catch up in the physical world sometime soon.
Right. Same here. Right. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajeev. Stay safe.